Hi everyone, welcome back to another Conversations with Heaven on Earth. I'm Jo, and once again we are blessed to have the beautiful, talented, modern, super fantastic, she's juicing, she's dieting, no she's not dieting, that's ridiculous, she is juicing, she is gymming, she is being everything amazing to this world. Once again, I am so honored and proud to introduce my beautiful friend Melissa Mills, who is the modern medium to the world and the universe. Hi, Melissa. How are you doing today?
You're so funny. Thank you for that beautiful intro. I am definitely so empowered by everybody that we chat to, and I just feel so excited for the transformation that is happening. And I just want to share something with you guys because I feel this is important. It's quite a topic that's been coming up with those watching our videos and things like that, and it's about allowing the quantum shifts to happen. And what that means is when we are absorbing what Conversations with Heaven on Earth is teaching us, right, really teaching us, because we're getting to the nitty gritty of the stuff. Don't we love it? Aren't you excited that we get to hear the nitty gritty stuff? And so what happens is we need to allow that new thinking, that new way of being to happen. And so that's a quantum shift, and a quantum shift doesn't happen in like a second. So you've got to allow things to change. You've got to allow your physical body to adapt, your mind to adapt, and your soul to adapt, so then that all three are in alignment with each other. And so a topic is the universe testing you? The universe is not testing you. The universe is giving you opportunity for those quantum shifts to occur, whether it be physically, mentally, or spiritually. So as you grow, as you evolve, isn't it amazing just how different you start to do life? But then, you kind of feel like, ooh, it's a little bit different. So just give yourself permission to flip it. So that's my new thing at the moment, is flip it. Flip the perspective and look at it as opportunities to evolve, because when you're in that state, that's when the genius stuff happens. So I know we're getting a lot of feedback from people saying, oh my goodness, I'm shifting so much. And, and it's amazing. That's why we do these videos. So we're excited for you. Welcome to the light side. So I feel so privileged with the beautiful conversation that we had with our last interview, Julia Child. She was just beautiful and gorgeous, and I loved her way of explaining emotional eating and about soul midwives. I mean, just how incredible is that? I wish I knew that before I had my children. So I feel so blessed for you who are going to have children to know that. So what about you, Jo?
Absolutely. She was just, she gave us such food for thought without actually any recipes. I loved it. And really, she gave us so much more information about her private life, but there's no way I thought she would have been an introvert at all, and that she felt so out of place. So it was really, really cool. Just like all of these videos, they always manage to surprise me and yet educate me. And I just word speechless. Oh, when I get really tongue-tied, it's usually when we have about to have like a really epic conversation with someone. So I'll start introducing the next person. Okay, so this is going to be a fun challenge. So he was born Prince Roger Nelson, but he also had other names, which I think were actually his legal names. There was a symbol, Alexander Nevermind, the artist formerly known as Prince, Christopher Tracy, Jamie Starr, Joey Coco, Tora Tora, the kid, the Prince of Funk. I mean, his passports would have looked deliciously fun. So I find it really curious how cool to reinvent yourself with names. Who is it, Shakespeare, that says, if Rose wasn't the name of, if the rose was not called a rose, would it still be a sweet? I don't know. It was some sort of statement about how just because we put labels on things doesn't keep them. Oh God, I'm totally lost. I'm so. Ugh, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. Sorry, everybody. Okay, so I've introduced him. Melissa, take over.
How exciting. I know that Prince is someone that we did a poll with Freddie Mercury. So you might remember a few months ago doing the Freddie Mercury Prince poll on my Facebook page. And we're very excited. We like to really honor that we want to speak to these people just as much. And I'm excited to speak to Prince. He is a little bit before my time, just like Freddie Mercury was. I'm very familiar with Purple Rain, and that's probably as far as my Prince knowledge goes. I'm sure I could rattle off a few more, but that's what I feel confident being able to talk to you guys about. So I can't wait to meet this incredible being and see what he's got to share with us. So I'm going to tune in, enjoy, sit back, relax, and let's see what he's got to share.
Lovely. I'm so excited. He's totally my time. I totally loved his music and my discos with my fluoro and probably my hair exactly like this was rocking out. And oh my goodness, just love his music and so excited. Fun fact, kind of, the day our twins were born, when I was busy giving birth, he passed. So I don't know. I did not like that because I felt really sad when it was such a happy time for us having two survived children. To know that we lost a beautiful icon was quite heartbreaking, really. I think I was probably a little bit emotionally vulnerable as well. So it probably impacted me a little bit more than maybe other people. I don't know.
So he's like your Robin Williams to me, really. I was really impacted when Robin Williams died. Yeah. So it was really interesting. It really didn't take a lot for him to show up, but I just really want to make sure that I'm in my power and that I'm really open to doing my job, because my job is to facilitate these conversations as the interpreter, really. That's what I am. So, but he came in really quickly, and it's so interesting because, I mean, I know that he's small in stature, but it's like as he's like imprinting himself, it's like, wow, he really is like quite a tiny being physically, but do not let that, fool you in terms of his greatness, as a wider being. I don't really know what I'm trying to say, but anyway, so he comes in and the first thing that he does is just puts his hands together and he just wants to acknowledge, thank us, thank everybody watching, and really, I feel deep gratitude for humanity. I really feel that he is so connected with wanting to bring people together, wanting good for the planet, for the world, for its people. And I just really feel like let's take a moment, all of us, and with Prince. Can I call you Prince? Is that okay? Because it's kind of like what everyone knows you as. And he goes, yeah, it's a little bit hard to mention me as a symbol. I'm like, yes, it is. So let's just take a moment. Let's feel into our heart space. Let's bow our head and let's just feel into the connection of humanity right now. We're all one. We're all connected. When we cut ourselves, we all bleed red. Let's just realize that we come from the same place and have the same heart, really, in terms of what we want for this world. So I just feel that's really beautiful that he's orchestrating that. And just take a deep breath of gratitude for your life right now. Doesn't that feel good? Right, open your eyes. And so here I am with my friend Prince. Kind of making me get chills down my spine. You have such an electric energy. Oh gosh. He goes, I had that way with women. I'm like, I'm sure you did. You had a lot of women in your life.
Yeah, absolute firecracker on the dance floor. Oh my goodness.
I'm like, oh, I really feel like, just electric chills. I don't know how else to explain that. It's quite funky. Anyway, now he's making me blush a little bit. So I'm going to hand it over to you to see where we're going to go with this, because I feel a little bit flushed.
Oh, delicious. Well, thank you so much, Prince, for being with us. Incredible that you start off still considering humanity and giving us all a nice minute to just be within. That's like, you're already still giving to humanity so well. So, tears of just smitten joy. So thank you so much. Does he want to talk about the need for him to have the different names? I mean, what was he going through? I mean, I feel like there's going to be a lot of stuff he wants to share with us. I just don't know where to start, because he just had such a beautiful, rich life. Does he want to talk about past lives? Or, I mean, how is he doing? Is he okay? Because we love him.
Well, let's start there. That's a good question. Like, what do you do? You know, what's the spirit world like? And, you know, like, what's it like? Because I feel like we're just hanging. And you know what? Like, if you can imagine him, I feel like he's still continuously creating. And I just feel like, you know, he's got pen and paper, and I can't remember who, it was Chester, right? Chester, have you caught up with Chester from Linkin Park? Because he was talking about how important writing is. And he's just kind of like jotting down things. And I just feel like he was somebody who just created so much. He does actually say to me that he produced a lot of music for other artists as well, under alias names, which is interesting. So, you know, he says for him in the afterlife, he's very much somebody who is helping people to create kind of like the lessons that they're going to go through. Kind of, he's in that, that's kind of what Freddie Mercury does, right? He kind of helps people to decide what lessons he's going to experience. But he says, no, he's more like helping with, you know, the test, and I'm more like, let's get creative. So he works a lot with the creatives, people who are deciding to come to Earth to bring some kind of creative aspect to the world, whether it be music, whether it be art, whether it be dance, you know, any aspect of creativity. He kind of helps to get those juices flowing for those people, and kind of imparting some of his knowledge. He also says, you know, he'd like to be a spirit guide next. He'd like to be someone who guides people to their life. So he says, you know, he's quite busy up here, but he really is. I just see him, he's just kind of like jotting down on a piece of, you know, well, they don't really have pieces of paper in the afterlife, but you get the idea if we can bring it into like a physical world kind of sense. So that's what he's doing. He's helping the creatives to get really clear on what their mission is going to be with the creative things that they bring to the world. And kind of, he says, once I've done that for a little while, I want to be a spirit guide.
Oh my gosh, imagine that. Can we hook each other up? I would love to have another life with you as a spirit guide. I would.
I'm sure there's lots of people that will be lining up to have him as a spirit guide, right?
Yeah.
So how amazing. So yeah, he's still really busy. I mean, how amazing to decide you want to be like some form of artist, and you've got Prince just imparting all his wisdom. It literally just flows out of him. It's just incredible. Like, I wish I could do it justice for you guys to see like how he's just like talking to me, and he's just like writing things down, and I'm like, what are you writing? You know, like I kind of want to have a little look-see. So anyway, he won't show me, but that's fine. Not because he doesn't want to, he says it's not ready. So in terms of like, what's with all the names? Like, what's with that? And you know, he looks at me and he goes, have you never had an alter ego, Melissa? And I'm like, well, of course I have. And he goes, you know, it's, you know, he talks about how for him as a child, he wasn't really given the opportunity to have a voice, to be heard, to, you know, and what I feel is it's really about having the freedom to express yourself. Really, like, this is who I am today, this is how I'm feeling today. Because he says his childhood was actually, he says he's grateful for it, but he says it was a really, like, and he looks at me and he gets quite emotional. He goes, it was a really hard time to see my family struggle, to be living in an area where, you know, there's a lot of crime, lots of poverty, you know, and he goes, we were in a good place compared to a lot of people in our community. But he talks about how, you know, people didn't respect him because of his stature. People didn't, you know, he says, I was never picked for the sports team, you know, like I was always like the runt, you know. And from what I get from him, he wanted to express himself, and this is why he has the many names. And from what I get from him is he also talks about acknowledging his gurus. So every time he kind of had a new name, it was acknowledging his guru. And I feel that this is like a spiritual teacher that came into his life, or someone that had a real impact. So it was a way of really giving thanks to that person for giving him or making such a significant difference in his life. Does that make sense to you guys? Is that cool?
Yeah. How does he feel about being so many millions of people's own personal guru? You know, he had such a massive following, and just not just the ladies who had the hot pants for him, but just guys in general. He was just so well loved and just so talented, and you knew that he was doing good with his money. You knew that he was, well, not showy, but I was not surprised to hear that he gave so much and supported so many schools and institutions and all that sort of stuff. Sorry, I'm like just fanning out here so well.
Well, you know, isn't that beautiful? Because he says, you know, he really struggled at school, and, you know, and I feel for him is because he saw the struggles in his family. Like, I really do feel like the love for his mother, he has so much respect for his mum. You know, and to see her having to work so hard, to sacrifice so much, you know, because he says she would go without so that I could, you know. And it's like he wants to ensure that children in that kind of environment are given some form of hope, because he says it wasn't chance for him to become this mega star, you know. Like, he says it was all how can I put it, from what I get is that people knew of his talent. People knew he was someone with an incredible voice, an incredible ear for music, you know. And he talks about, you know, I really feel like, I'm not sure, but I feel like I want to get some like Motown kind of record label or something was around, and I feel like I'm singing in a church, you know, choir, and there's, you know, somebody from like a record company that's heard about me, and, you know, and they come and see me singing at the church, you know, and that's cute. And, you know, it was like I was given this opportunity, but I really was connected to my savior, you know, at the time, being his, you know, God and everything like that. And so, yeah, he says for him, it was kind of an easy thing to get into. It wasn't too much of, you know, a struggle to become this incredible artist. But it's the aftermath that happens with all of that. He says that that's where the challenges kind of came in his life. But becoming this incredible musician was not difficult. He had experienced so much emotion. You know, you can feel the struggle in his, like, he shows me, like, when I'm singing, you know, like, you feel it, it comes out of me. And I feel there's a few of them that talked about that, you know, Kurt Cobain, Freddie Mercury, you you know, and Nina Simone, you know, a few of them have talked about how the music just, you know, comes out of them, right? And he says, because it's raw, it's so real, and he says people were definitely moved by his incredible ability to bring in those emotions.
Yeah. Just a question. So when you're the artist and you've written something from a personal experience, and then you have to go and perform it again and again and again, like, what does it kind of do? Like, does it just put you back into that negative funk, or do you have to literally experience the pain or the heartbreak every single time? Like, kind of just dawned on me how actually exhausting that can be when you're in a happy place or in a totally different place to kind of be the performer. How do you do that?
Yeah, he says, like, to me, he says it's just about bringing in, you're not staying in that zone. You've really definitely healed from it, but because it's so significant, it is something that you can really feel. He says, you know, he can't talk for everybody, of course, but yeah, he really makes me feel like he could just go in that zone. He could just literally go into that, because he says he'd experienced it so like he lived it. He says it's different when you're like when you write songs for people and you know you're singing someone else's song. It's a little bit harder to get into that emotion, to feel that rawness. I mean, you know, a lot of people can go into it and feel it, but you know, I just feel like I don't know how to put it into words. Into words, because he just kind of says it moves into it.
No,
I don't know how to describe that.
No, I get it now. And of course, I know he's professional, and I know they're all professionals, but I'm just thinking on the emotional level. But I guess you're in the hype of the experience that it doesn't kind of just eat into you. So, does he have a past life that he wants to talk to us about? I kind of feel like he must have had something pretty significant.
Yeah, well, you know what? I feel like he says he's such a mix of understanding. He says this lifetime he kind of wanted to understand it all. And he says, you know, he had the opportunity to travel to many beautiful places in on earth, and to really get to meet these incredible teachers. And so for him, he was like, I wanted to be a licorice, all sorts of, you know, spiritual understanding.
He came to New Zealand, and it was I think his last concert was in New Zealand. Did he get to explore New Zealand at all, or I guess you're just so busy?
No, he says, you know, not as much, which is a shame. But in terms of a past life, like what I'm interestingly brought to is, I feel like I'm in, I don't know, maybe let's say Rome or something like that. And he shows me being the owner of a brothel. Of all things, you know, this is when the fun happens, right? I'm sure it is where the fun happens. And he talks about, you know, how he really learned to appreciate women this lifetime because of being, you know, the brothel owner, and seeing how women were treated. And I feel like in this life he was a woman, right? And it's interesting to be on the other side of being a man and now being able to treat women the way that they need to be treated. So he says that was definitely a fun lifetime. He does make me feel, though, that in that life, a natural disaster came. I'm like, is it Pompeii? And it's like, no, it's not Pompeii. Kind of wiped them all out. So that was a quite sudden death. in a sense. And so he didn't want to pass in a natural disaster this time round. From what I get, there is another life, and I feel like this is something to do with being I don't know what the equivalent would be, but like, like a Japanese samurai. I feel like being like a Chinese warrior, and I feel like protecting the Great Wall. I feel like I was part of protecting the Great Wall of China and, being killed in battle. So it's like I've died in a natural disaster. I've been murdered, like I want to try something different this lifetime. So, that was really interesting for him to experience. And this time it's like wanting to be more, I don't know how to explain it, but this lifetime he wanted to be more in front, rather than, saving a country or, being the brothel owner. It's like I wanted to do something with more impact, more meaning. Not that he says those lives didn't have any meaning, but he says, that's what he kind of wanted to do. So, yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Really?
It's really cool. And did he have karma in that past life as the brothel owner to be able to then repay back?
Well, I get that as the brothel owner, right, he did, or she did, try to get good conditions for the girls and things like that, but it says it's the world that we lived in at the time, a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do, he says.
Oh, I love them so much. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Now, we do not have any judgments, and we always support, and we're certainly not trying to convert anyone. Does he want to talk about his passion and his religion?
Well, he says he made it his own. He says I feel like I've gone to the depths of the earth, and I've really got like feelings from Africa. I've got feelings from, India. I've got things from like, kind of everywhere. So it's like I don't feel I want to have like a specific religion. I have made it my own. And he says this is why I was a symbol. It's because it's like I was now no longer being dictated. And so I was going to present myself of the collection that I have acquired throughout my life. That's what I feel. So I hope that makes sense. But a lot of his music, he says, is quite revealing. So he says we can look at that. And I feel like he says he's very at peace with what he believed in this lifetime.
Yeah. I think he's totally valid to do that. I think he was such a nice person. He did things that were, beyond what most people can do and care. He had such a compassion. Where did his heart come from? Can he just hug me? Can I get a spirit hug from you, Melissa, right now? I'm sorry, everyone. I'm usually a bit better than this, but I've cried in this video already, and I'm just a fangirl. Oh, what else do I want to say to him? I just want to have a conversation and talk to him forever and then just dance. Oh my goodness. I'm gone.
Yeah. Well, I feel like he is somebody who is such an influencer in our history, in our current history. And, we have to give him credit for that. He did so much for our world, but not in like I want to show off that I'm doing all this stuff. And I feel this is his message to humanity in a sense is, those random acts of kindness or those acts of kindness, they don't need to be glorified or justified or, and he says everybody can make a difference. It doesn't matter. It doesn't always have to be on a financial level. He says he was able to because that was his path. He was a very wealthy musician, entrepreneur. And, you know, he says it doesn't have to always be like on a monetary level that you are doing those random acts of kindness or that you are helping others. But he says you don't need to gloat about it. You don't need to have your praises sung about it. He goes, just be a good human being, you know, like do good for others. Whatever your struggles have been as a child, he says, make that a point. He says those struggles you have as children are really an indication of the difference that you need to make to the world as an adult, if you get the opportunity to be an adult. So, you know, maybe we need to reflect back a little bit.
It's huge. And that's like when you've healed from the lessons that you need to learn as a child, use that growth and knowledge to then empower others. Boom. Yes. Isn't he just amazing, Melissa?
He sure is. I mean, I'm not as fangirling as you, no offense, Prince, my friend, but, you know, like I feel just such an electricity inside of me, and I just feel like purple rain, purple rain, you know, like, woo! You know, I want to like, it's because that's all I know, but no offense.
Girls are one of my favorites. And the one, this is way too many. What is Purple Rain? I haven't listened to them as an adult properly and gone, oh, that's what it means. It could be a drug or I don't know, any fun things. But does he want to talk about what actual Purple Rain is?
From what I get, it's that spiritual connection.
Oh, nice.
You know, it's like bathing in your subconscious, being able to bring in that power. Fabulous. However you get into that altered state.
So we need to listen to that loud and just allow the purple rain to flow into us and feed our souls.
Maybe. You know, I feel like he just also wants to say how much he is grateful to all his fans. You know, he really is grateful. And he says, by loving my music, you made such a difference to humanity. And he just says, you know, I couldn't have done that without you. So he is really full of gratitude. That's what I really like about him. The first thing that he really wanted was for us to be in gratitude, for us to really remember we're all one energy. And so he says, you know, he just wants us to realize the impact that we created by being fans, by being people who just loved who he was.
Totally loved who he was because of his music, you know, the way it made us feel. And maybe I never knew what Purple Rain was, but maybe I just got it within, and that made me feel special at a very vulnerable age. So blessed man. Was it his exit point?
Well, he says, oh, well, you know. He says, it was time for me to go and do the work that I need to do here. So he was kind of being called to come and help the future artist of the world.
Perfect.
So I don't feel it's an exit point, but I feel it was like, well, you've done enough now. We need you up here.
Yeah. Thank you. For some reason, I thought he was going to say, none of your bloody business. He would totally be right. Like, I always feel like I'm prying, like, and then tell me this. Like, so thank you so much for, we don't want your gossip. We want to know how you're doing and what happened as much. It just makes it less painful for us to know that, okay, cool, he's doing good work and he's okay. I am totally fangirling, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know, something interesting that he says is that he would really like to see us interview a shaman.
Yep.
And he talks about how, that really understanding that strong connection with the earth and the elements and the divine is really important, and encourages us to interview a shaman because he had many gurus in his life. I'm very, very drawn to, Native America with it. And it's because he says that's where he went, and he says he was anointed, and he was made to be part of the people, and that's what he really loved, is realizing we're all one, and this is his message, is we are all one, we are all connected. But he says a shaman will be very interesting for you.
Lovely.
He said he'll guide you, Jo. He'll guide you to who it is, someone from Native America.
Well, thank you. I keep remembering that Freddie Mercury said that we've got some interesting people coming that we'll be interviewing who are going to be very helpful healers. And I'm just wondering if then Prince is also helping with that. It's just like blows my mind. As a mummy, this is like, oh, this is better than like bathing my child who had pumpkin all over him this morning. Sorry, I'm just too much. I love you so much, Prince. I'm going to listen to your music and probably bawl my eyes out, but dance to Purple Rain like 1,000 times. And I will promise that I will convert Melissa Mills to be a #1 fan too, because I know she deserves to listen and love your music and appreciate it. So.
I admit, when he died, when you died, well, when you didn't die, but when you entered your next part of your journey in the afterlife, I got with a girlfriend and we played Prince music all night long, and we had a few drinks in your honor. So I did do that. I did honor him in that sense. So
and honoring him now by having a connection. So I'll just subtly post you lots of YouTube videos just because I love you and I'm just sharing.
I probably, I do know more of his music, but if you were to ask me like the names of them, I honestly wouldn't know. Apart from Purple Rain, I don't know. That for me, that song is so powerful. Now knowing why, I can understand. I'm very drawn, to all things spirituality, right? So that song, I just feel like I want to bathe in this beautiful purple light, this purple energy, this source that reminds us that we are all one, we are all connected. So yeah, isn't he just gorgeous?
Yeah, you must know other ones but probably haven't connected them, like When Doves Cry and then Kiss.
That's in Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, is it?
With Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is what it sounds like when doves cry. I didn't know that. See?
Yeah.
So we have a jam. Prince and I are going to have a jam together.
A lot of his songs also were covered, not originally by him. I think he just wrote so much content that a lot of other songs, pop stars even, they did his music. And, ask him this. When you write a song and then someone else covers it, is it kind of okay? Like, how awkward is that? Like, do you just feel like, how does it feel? I'm not going to add anything in, but I guess sometimes they hit it and sometimes they don't.
He says it depends on the song.
I guess you would never...
It depends on the song and the journey that goes with it. He says for him, he's glad the music is being kept alive and more people are being brought together. His real message is about oneness, is about, community. So I feel whatever he says, whatever brings people together, he's fine with that.
Oh, he's so perfect and forgiving. It's so kind. I have so much to learn from him. Wonderful. He said his message to humanity, so he doesn't think he's going to come back in human life form again. He's just going to be a spirit guide, which I think is epic. So don't.
No, just for the next round.
Okay, next round. And so you come, as a spirit guide, do you come with the person as they're born and you're connected with them and then you spend your whole life with them?
Well, I feel like he talks about being a spirit guide, not a
Oh, guardian angel.
master guide. So he
Sorry.
talks about being able to be with more than one person, so being a little bit more fluid. So not being anybody's specific master guide. And what you're thinking of, Joanne, that's a master guide. So from what I get is he'll be with a few people, potentially maybe the people he's encouraging right now with them in the afterlife with the creativity, right? So we'll just have to wait and see.
In terms of music in the future, is it going to be the less about the words and more about the sound and the vibrations and the tone? Are we going to get?
It's always been about that.
Oh, God, you're amazing. Yes, it has been. It has. Of course. Okay, so
I'd love to. I think we should at some point do like Jimi Hendrix. I think that would be quite interesting, right? You and Jimmy could be like quite good buddies. I mean, there's so many of them that we need to chat with. That would be interesting to hear. Now that you're mentioning about like the sound, I think that would be a cool one to do. But Prince is going to love and leave us. Let's take that one more time. Let's take that deep breath. This is how he wants to part us. So let's take that deep breath. Let's all connect together, all of us watching this beautiful video from him. Let's give thanks to humanity and the way forward. Namaste, everybody. Thank you so much. It's been my absolute honor to connect with you. And thank you for still shining a light to the hope that humanity really does need. So thank you for everything that you have left us with on this planet as Prince.
Thank you. So beautifully said, Melissa. Tears.
I felt that. I know. I'm about to start crying too. So, but I really feel like, could you feel his energy there? It was just so profound and so powerful. I guess because he's also next to me, I'm like,
love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much, Prince. I just love and adore you, and will take all your lessons and messages sincerely to my heart, and I will be a better person through your love. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Are you crying like I am? I don't know. I want to watch this again. With his music up loud. Thank you very much, Melissa Mills, you beautiful, wonderful woman. I'm just so grateful that we can do these messages for my own selfish reasons, but also for humanity. So thank you so much. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. This beautiful community that we all are. We're all one. We're all together, right? Isn't that just such a powerful message? So with that, my friends, I love you. Peace out.